eyeing 2020, Senator Elizabeth Warren constantly taking aim at the 1% and calls for wealth redistribution. We've heard this a lot from her, but her latest tax returns show she's actually part of that group herself. Then there's this, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi taking a defiant tone. She says she's not going anywhere, folks, certainly not while President Trump is in the White House. Joining us right now is Gianno Caldwell, Caldwell Strategic Consulting founder and a Fox News contributor. Good to see you, Gianno. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria. Thank you for having me.
Well, she says she's not going anywhere. That's not doing any favors for some of her colleagues on the left. What's your take in terms of this strength that she's showing and Elizabeth Warren trashing everybody who's in that 1%? Meanwhile, she's there herself.
Yeah, that's interesting. She can actually take that 1% and become a 99%. You just go on your tax return and give most of your money away. That's easy if she really wanted to be about that life. But certainly we can tell that it's rhetoric at this point. When it comes to Nancy Pelosi, I think it's particularly interesting because she is someone who many Democrats have said that they won't vote for her. We're talking about candidates that are running for office. They may be elected or not. 1/3 of her caucus voted against her this last go-round at the start of session for electing the minority leader. And what we saw is about 50, I think it's about 50 now, of candidates saying that they wouldn't vote for her. But this is what's interesting to me. Nancy Pelosi is a prolific fundraiser for the Democrats, and she has instructed her caucus and candidates running to say that they would vote against her if it'll get them points and hopefully get them elected. So for them, I found that to be interesting and disingenuous claims by Democrats who know they're going to vote for her in the end.
Yeah, a new Fox News poll reveals how polarizing Pelosi and the president are in the eyes of voters. 26% of voters say that they feel strongly favorable in their opinion of President Trump, more than double the number of voters who say they feel the same about Nancy Pelosi. But polling also reveals a majority of voters have strongly unfavorable opinions toward President Trump, beating Pelosi by 11 points. So, you know, you've got two characters that people really have significant feelings for one way or the other, John.
Yeah, when it comes to President Trump in terms of the strongly favorable, I think with the economy, obviously people enjoy more money in their pocket. I think that this fake news narrative certainly plays in his favor. And Nancy Pelosi is an individual who said she wanted to reverse the Trump policies, especially around tax reform and other issues. So that doesn't bode well for her.
Yeah.
But on President Trump's side, you know, some of these recent issues, Michael Cohen and other things that have come up, we recognize it does have an impact. So that's something that the president has to be aware of and certainly not dig a deeper hole on Twitter.
One thing, Gianno, it's Dagan McDowell, that the Wall Street Journal editorial page writes about today, the forbidden word I, the impeachment word. The fact of the matter is Democrats have no agenda other than impeachment. Although they won't admit it on the campaign trail, they're acting like that they have some magic sauce to make the economy grow faster than it already is. That's balderdash. They literally just want to take the House so they can impeach the president because they're angry that Hillary Clinton lost to him, period.
Yeah, Maxine Ward has been very clear about this impeachment piece. But Nancy Pelosi has said, hey, let's stop talking about it because people realize that if Republicans know that if Democrats take back the House, that President Trump there will be impeachment proceedings and it will be a major disruption to our country. They know more Republicans are going to go out and they're going to vote. So they're trying to keep it quiet. But I do agree with you that this is their real solution to the president. And I think that a lot of Democrats would like to see that happen. And certainly Republicans should be aware of that. And that's the alarm we should be sounding, not saying that there's going to be a red wave.
Hey, Gianno, this is Gary in New York. It seems to me that Dagan makes a great point about impeachment being one part of their strategy. It also seems
the only part.
No. But from a macro perspective, it seems like the class warfare, redistributed income is nothing more than a doubling down, add in a big dose of Trump is horrible to what was their losing campaign in the previous round of elections. Do you see anything differently going forward?
No, as I stated, the policy is, or the idea is, the narrative that the Democrats have been pushing is we want to reverse what Trump has done. When we talk about economics, what he's done has been phenomenal. So we can be honest about that. There's disagreement, and I can certainly say that he has not been great in all areas. But certainly when it comes to the economic piece, that is a very positive area, and I think that's one that we all can agree upon. Democrats don't have any solutions to that. I remember maybe a couple months ago, they were here, the DNC was here in Hollywood looking for messaging, having strategy sessions on messaging. So you can tell they still don't have a message yet, but the message will be impeach Trump if they do win. That's definitely the agenda.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but here's also the message: we think we make better decisions with your money than you do. I've said that. I've said that all along.
That's the whole redistribution part. Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Or trying to sell to Elizabeth Warren and her far left friends the Medicare for all, which we're already facing a $40 trillion hole in Social Security and Medicare, and they want Medicare for all, which would require doubling the amount of money that the government takes in the form of corporate and individual taxes, doubling it.
Free
you would crush the economy.
Yeah.
Again, can we have some math classes taught down on Capitol Hill?
You know, so much is riding on these midterm elections, Gianno. I mean, you've got not just the idea of policy potentially changing with the midterm elections, but also the idea that these investigations into the FBI's wrongdoing completely go away. I mean, this really is a consequential midterm election. Check out the op-ed by Kim Strassel this morning in the Journal. Justice is partial. Really good read. What's your take on going into the midterm elections about all of this, and will it sway voters?
Well, if we're looking at the polls, it appears that there's a likelihood that Republicans will lose the House, maybe not the Senate. So there will be the continuation. If that narrative is correct, there will be a continuation of investigations from the Senate side. Impeachment, there will be proceedings, but certainly it wouldn't happen because the Senate wouldn't take it up. But there will be a major disruption to what we're doing, and certainly a reversal of some of the successes that we've seen under this administration. So I think that people should be, especially on the right, Republicans, we ought to be very concerned and not continue with what President Trump has been saying is there's going to be a red wave. Let's not tell people that. We need to tell people, hey, if we don't get out of the vote, then President Trump will be impeached. Yeah. That is the strongest, I think, narrative and campaign strategy that anyone should use, because at this point, people may feel the need to get comfortable and stay at home and say, well, there's more money in my pocket, and I think people are going to vote in favor of President Trump's policies and, of course, the Republican Party because of it. And I don't think that's totally true.
Mm. All right, we will leave it there. Gianno, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Good to see you as always.
Gianno Caldwell joining us there.